My mother from my past life indulged in self-sacrificing theatrics, tucking an encouraging note into my stationery bag during the college entrance examination, which got me convicted of cheating. Only on her deathbed did I learn it was all my cousin Tan Shue's idea. Reborn. I swore to change my fate and never repeat those mistakes. They all said Tan Shue was just playing a joke on me. I returned every single one of those jokes. Well, why aren't you laughing anymore? When my husband cheated and beat me, I begged my mother for support. She snapped. It's your own fault for being useless. Can't even keep a man. So his infidelity and violence were my fault? She went on. Well, you only have yourself to blame for picking the wrong person. I finally reached my breaking point. You were the one who forced me to marry him. My mother stared at me in shock. If you didn't want to marry him, could I have tied you down? All this is your own choice. Don't pin your failures on me. I was speechless. She knew perfectly well when my life started to unravel. That year, I was certain of acing the exam, but during the first Chinese test, I found a note in my stationery bag that wasn't mine. I kept calm until after the exam to open it, only to find her handwriting, "Baby, be careful." The woman who never cared about my grades, who only ever fussed over Tan Shui, had pulled this stunt during the Gaokao. I thought I dodged a bullet until after all subjects ended. Someone reported me. An investigation confirmed cheating, and all my scores were invalidated. I checked answers online. I had more than enough for my dream 985 university, but it was all ruined by her self-indulgent gesture. Because of this, I lost even the chance to retake the exam, stuck with only a high school diploma, struggling through menial jobs. The cheating scandal became their dinner table gossip, a stain I could never wash off. After Dad died, she pressured me into marrying Jiang Dong, the man she'd picked. Day in and day out, she harped on filial duty until she got the result she wanted. And all this was my own choice? When Jiang Dong beat me, she told me to let it go, ignored the bruises on my body. When I fled home, she welcomed Jiang Dong with a table full of his favorite dishes, urging us to reconcile. When I caught him cheating and asked for a divorce, she still blamed me for failing to keep my man. My heart turned to ash. I stopped expecting her support until I overheard her conversation with Tan Shui before leaving. Will Jejia hate me? How could she? You made sure her Gaokao scores were cancelled back then, and she forgave you. This time will be the same. Mother sounded flustered. I did? But it was you who told me what to do. You who reported her. You who introduced Jiang Dong. Tan Shui feigned surprise. Auntie, didn't you ask me how to keep her under your thumb? I was just joking. Only then did I realize my entire life hadn't been an accident. It was man-made disaster. Dazed, I drove home and crashed. When I opened my eyes again, I was back in senior year of high school. Maybe even God couldn't stand my ridiculous, pathetic life anymore. Given a second chance, I swore I'd never repeat the past. Most memories were hazy, but I remembered the incident that had shaped my whole school life. Xian Jingsheng blocked my path, arrogant as ever, granting me a favor. Hey, I think you're not bad. Want to go out with me? This was where it started. No repeating mistakes. Gasps rippled through the crowd. I saw Tan Shui among them, young enough not to hide the schadenfreude in her eyes. I looked up at Xian Jingsheng, smiling, sure. No starstruck reaction. He was taken aback, but didn't care. He laughed loudly, sizing me up dismissively now that I look again. You're not that pretty, and your personality's boring. Let's break up. Everyone understood. It was a joke. The envious stares turned to mockery, laughing at my delusion for thinking I stood a chance. My reaction disappointed them too. I kept smiling, sure. Same word. No change. It seemed I really didn't care. Tan Shui stepped forward, linking my arm, pretending concern. Jejia, Don't force yourself. I know you've liked him since forever, the moment she spoke. Everyone was convinced I was saving face. I shook off her hand and waved at Jiang Yanghua in the crowd. I bet sa bet. 3,000 yuan. Trouble settling that. Everyone froze, including Tan Shui. She couldn't figure out how her carefully laid trap had backfired. Jiang Yanghua came for money. 3,000 was nothing. Don't have cash on me. I'll transfer it later. Then he turned to Xin Jingsheng. Did you team up with her to scam me? Now you owe me a pool game. Xin Jingsheng finally reacted, glaring at me. You played me? I shrugged. Don't look at me like that. You were betting on me, accepting you too, right? Win-win. Yes, his confession had been a pure bet. He'd wagered I wouldn't refuse. In my past life, my rejection had bruised his ego, and he'd launched a grand pursuit of me. From start to finish, he only cared about his own pride, never considering how much trouble he'd bring me. His followers even thought I was playing hard to get, targeting me relentlessly when I begged Mother for help. Tan Shui got to her first, so Mother assumed I'd been unchaste, seducing boys at school. She called me shameless, said I shouldn't bother with school, and should just get married early. But looking back, what did any of this have to do with me? Pure unprovoked disaster. I leaned closer and whispered, I didn't want to either, but you came for me first. This is just self-defense. You're not going to play sore loser and send people to teach me a lesson, are you? I knew, the moment I said that, whether he'd thought of it or not, he wouldn't do it. Under his nearly smoking glare, I dug a hole for Tan Shui. By the way, this whole thing was someone else's plan to make you lose face. Instead of staring at me, maybe figure out who tipped you off to come find me, and who leaked info to me to use you as a pawn. Of course, if I hadn't known about his bet, how would I have prepared to humiliate him? Seeing his dawning realization, I smiled in satisfaction. Tan Shui, last life, you orchestrated this, then hid behind the scenes. I told Mother, and she brushed it off as just a joke. My suffering, my pain, all dismissed with that one word. A joke? Tan Shui, let's see if you're still laughing this time. When Tan Shui came to find me, I was memorizing vocabulary. In my past life, I'd tossed all this aside after the Gaokao failed. If only I'd known I'd get a redo. I'd have done 5 years, 3 simulations every day. She swept into the room and cleared my desk in one motion. Tanjia, what did you say to Xin Jingsheng? Why is he saying he'll make me pay? Mom and Dad followed her in. Mom looked at me, disappointed. Jejia, how could you team up with others to bully your own cousin? When I suffered, it was Tan Shui's joke when she suffered. I was bullying family. I watched the mess on the floor. Come, I'd long accepted I wasn't the favored one. I told them plainly I'd just received a tip and turned the tables when someone tried to mess with me. It was just a joke. Was it worth bullying family over? Dad said, a joke? Do I look like I'm laughing? I met his eyes. Then I put on a confused expression. What does this have to do with cousin? I just told Xin Jingsheng. Someone fill me in. So we're even. I didn't mention anyone else. Maybe your friend was joking with you, and you took it the wrong way. They had no rebuttal. Tan Shui stomped her foot and ran out. Before they left, I asked if I could get a lock on my bedroom door. They refused. My room used to have a lock. They'd removed it, even when I was home. I wasn't allowed to close my door. They came and went as they pleased. No knocking needed. That's why I never kept a diary. I wasn't their child. I was their property. No need for thoughts or opinions. I just had to obey. So when I mentioned wanting to go to a university far away, Mother didn't hesitate to ruin me to keep me close. This time, I wouldn't play along. In my past life, I guessed Tan Shui had a hand in the harassment I faced. I'd done nothing to deserve it, yet people treated me like a thorn in their side. My desk was always smeared with ink, chalk dust, dried mystery drinks. My homework, once submitted, would come back altered, scrawled with vulgar words. Just like now, the blackboard read, "Tangia is a slut. Shameless. Cheap." When I walked in, some looked worried. Most wore expressions waiting for a show. To everyone's surprise, I didn't rage, didn't rush to erase it. I walked to my seat and started morning reading as usual. As the digital clock ticked, some grew restless. They exchanged looks, and finally one boy stood up to take the eraser. I smiled. "Li Fong, you're not on duty today. Why erase the board?" He panicked. "Those words, it's not good to leave them up, right?" My smile faded, voice turning cold so everyone could hear. "Nothing wrong with leaving them. Or, did you write them?" He denied it instantly. "If you didn't write it, why erase it? No one touches it. Whoever erases it admits to writing it." He froze, slinking back to his seat. Unwritten rule. These pranks had to stay hidden, never blatant enough for teachers to see. Even if caught, it was playful teasing. But this crossed the line. Teachers could walk in any minute. This minute, next minute. Finally, someone couldn't sit still. A boy went up and wiped the board clean. He was one of Tan Shue's suitors. Ordinary looks, grades, family background. Tan Shue looked down on him, but loved stringing him along to run errands. Too bad they'd end up with nothing. I walked straight up to him. "Jiang Song, you did this." He shifted his gaze, forcing bravado. "Yeah. So what? You brought this on yourself by messing with Brother Xan. Have some self-awareness." Trying to borrow power to scare me off. I laughed, grabbed his collar, and kicked open the door to Xian Jingsheng's classroom. Tan Shui was there. Naturally, Xian Jingsheng wasn't there yet. But that didn't matter. The class fell silent the moment I stepped in. I slammed my palm on the podium. "Your class's Xian Jingsheng lost a bet, doesn't have the guts to admit it, and sent people to mess with me. Tell him this for me. If you can't handle losing, don't play. Pathetic." I became thoroughly infamous. Infamous enough for the homeroom teacher to call me in. Both sides' parents were summoned. Jiang Song's mom was an ordinary-looking housewife. Nervous. My parents were busy, running late, in front of the teacher and parents. Jiang Song changed his tune completely. "I was just joking with a classmate. She's overreacting." He kept his head down, playing the victim. His mom nodded along. "Yes, teacher, our kid is usually the most well-behaved. There must be a misunderstanding." The homeroom teacher looked at me. "Classmates should get along. Don't be so aggressive. Apologize to each other. Write a self-criticism. Read it at Monday's flag-raising ceremony. And we'll drop it." All of them love jokes, huh? What twisted senses of humor. I curled my lip coldly. "Fine. Jiang Song, repeat your joke to your mom. Then we're even." He jerked his head up, eyes vicious. My voice stayed flat. "If a joke isn't fit to tell your mother, it shouldn't be said to another girl. Since you think it's funny, do you want to tell her? Or should I?" He stammered, unable to speak. I gave him an out. "I know this wasn't your idea. Someone told you to do it, right? Tell me who, and I won't pursue it." Just as he hesitated, the door burst open. "Report." Xian Jingsheng called out, pushing in without waiting for permission. He'd clearly been listening outside. The first thing he said, "No need. I know who it is." He walked up to Jiang Song, looking down at him. "Tan Shui, right?" He turned to me, exasperated. "I Xian Jingsheng can take a loss. I already told everyone. No one will bother you again." Xian Jingsheng valued pride above all. Dragging him into this, finally, served a purpose. I didn't care about petty harassment anymore. But flies aren't deadly, just nauseating. They used leverage. I could too. Sharpening the axe, wouldn't delay the woodcutting. I wouldn't waste study time dealing with this anymore. Just then, a man rushed in and slapped me across the face. Ungrateful thing. Teaming up with others to spread rumors about your cousin. How did I end up with a daughter like you? Apologize to your cousin now. Mother didn't stop him. Just told the teacher I was being impossible, that they'd discipline me properly. So news of Tan Shue's deeds had spread via Xan Jingsheng. Blood trickled from my nose, metallic taste rising in my throat. I sneered inwardly, a pang of grief hitting me. I also wonder how I ended up your daughter. Everyone was stunned. This turn of events was beyond anyone's expectations. I was the calmest person in the room. I pulled out a tissue, pressed it to my bleeding nose, and looked at the teacher. Can I apply for boarding now? Staying home isn't convenient for studying. I lowered my lashes. For reasons I think everyone understands. Having a family dodgy, a treacherous concubine from legend, at home was terrifying. The homeroom teacher was dazed. Everything had happened too fast for him to smooth things over. What do you mean? Did we starve you or not clothe you? You frame your cousin and still act aggrieved. He raised his hand to slap my back, but Xian Jingsheng actually stepped in to block him. She hasn't said a word yet. Now you understand. At 13 or 14, you hang out with disreputable people. A dog you raise would wag its tail at you, raise you, and all you do is embarrass us outside. Don't come to school for 2 days. Come home with me. He reached to grab me. The homeroom teacher finally snapped out of it, standing between us. Jiang Song's mom quickly pulled me aside. Mr. Tan, I think there's a misunderstanding. We didn't call you here because Tan Jia did something wrong. We don't hit children here. Xian Jingsheng wasn't afraid of him at all, stepping forward, making him shrink back half a step. Before, I played a joke on your daughter. My apologies. As for Tan Shui, those messages were all spread by me. Nothing to do with Tan Jia, and they weren't rumors. They're facts. Got a problem? Come to me. Bullying your own family. What kind of skill is that? Jiang Song's mom patted my shoulder lightly, comforting, in her arms. I felt warmth for the first time. My biological mother, meanwhile, only worried whether this hot-headed student would hit her husband, even if I were beaten. She'd just stand by and urge me to apologize. I told myself I accepted not being favored, but held by a stranger. My heart trembled, tears threatening to fall. Actually, this was perfect. Everything was within expectations. I seized the sympathy of everyone present and secured boarding before the exam, free to focus on the Gaokao. They helped spread the word. My parents were trash. And Tan Shui was the stir of it. Perfect. The outcome satisfied me too. After the teacher clarified things, my parents mumbled awkwardly. Mom kept murmuring, "Impossible. Teacher, are you sure you didn't get it wrong? How could that be?" In the end, I got what I wanted. I applied for boarding. Living expenses would be transferred via the teacher. They cared about face. After all, using this method, they wouldn't skimp on my living costs. No need to tighten my belt before the exam. Jiang Song's filter for Tan Shui shattered. He apologized to me. I didn't accept, didn't forgive, didn't care. Right now, I only cared about myself, determined to hold my future firmly in my own hands. If Tan Shui and those two left me alone, I wouldn't retaliate. For now, senior year was precious. After that, I studied like mad, absorbing as much knowledge as possible in the shortest time. As for Tan Shui, her reputation collapse was the least of it. More importantly, everyone knew she'd crossed Xian Jingsheng, so her situation soured. I wasn't much better off, but thanks to Xian Jingsheng's earlier words, no one harassed me openly. Tan Shui was targeted because she offended Xian Jingsheng. I was targeted because I'd caught his eye. That made sense. Like now, Xin Jingsheng, who wasn't even in our class, swaggered in, took someone else's seat without a shred of guilt, asking when I'd finished studying. I didn't even look up, never. It's endless. He stared at me for a long time. Then the usually arrogant young master lowered his voice. Tan Shui said you've always liked me. Is that true? My pen paused. I finally looked up, meeting eyes that feigned calm but hid a sliver of hope. I lowered my head and went back to my exercises. She wanted to make a fool of you. Do you think anything she told you would be true? Silence stretched. He let out a soft, "Oh." I felt no guilt. Tone flat, thinking someone likes you, but not returning their feelings. So you can make that kind of joke? Xin Jingsheng. I won't like you. His face paled, finally realizing what he'd done back then. But you didn't fall for it, right? And you even made me lose face instead. I stayed calm. The reason I wasn't tricked isn't because you showed mercy. It's because I dodged it. If you hadn't randomly taken an interest in me, if I'd rejected you back then, what difference would there be between my fate and Tan Shui's? Xin Jingsheng. Be a better person from now on. Be kind to strangers. Liking someone starts with being strangers first. So he understood I wouldn't like him. I'd read a passage before. There's a thing I adore. A boy at 13 or 14, finding a real gun one summer, unafraid of anything. He pulls the trigger. No one dies. No one gets hurt. He thinks it was a blank. Years later, at 30 or older, walking down the road, he hears a faint wind behind him. He stops and turns. The bullet hits him right between the eyes. I wouldn't retaliate for things that didn't happen. This life, he'd caused me trouble, but also solved it. With this warning, we were even. After moving into the dorm, I arrived earliest, left latest, and was even given the key to the classroom. Everyone saw how hard I worked. Once Xin Jingsheng stopped bothering me, I studied obsessively, practically sleeping with my error notebooks. I didn't expect more trouble. After all, Tan Shui's current situation made finding accomplices hard. But the enemy of my enemy is my friend. Because of Xin Jingsheng, I'd been forced into the spotlight, inviting disaster. That day, I arrived first as usual, reviewed last night's ancient poetry, problem-solving strategies, then did my duty as the day's cleaner, waiting for most people to arrive before starting morning reading. Suddenly, someone shouted, "My money's gone!" Everyone crowded around. How much? What money? When did you lose it? She explained she'd forgotten to take it last night, found it missing this morning, then asked, "Who was the last to leave last night? Who came earliest today?" Oh, coming for me? There'd been no such incident in my past life. 3,000 yuan total. Wang Yelan stood in front of my desk, looking down at me, pretending anger but unable to hide her sneer. I stayed calm. 3,000 isn't a small sum. Call the police. Hearing police, her eyes flickered, but she raised her voice to cover her nerves. Who knows if you're just stalling to move the stolen money? Tanjia, if you're not guilty, open your bag for us to check. So the money was in my bag. Wang Yelan's uncle worked in campus security. As long as she insisted the cameras were broken, no one could prove my innocence. If this happened before the Gaokao, I'd either be sent home or endure whispers at school. Either way, my studies would suffer, and a permanent stain would be left on my record. Wang Yelan and Tan Shui were well matched. Small pranks weren't their style. They went for the jugular, aiming to ruin futures. Sai, why'd you have to mess with me? I just wanted to study. Wang Yelan reached to grab the canvas bag hanging from my desk. I blocked her. She paused, then flushed with shame at being cowed by someone like me, bypassed my hand, and yanked the bag open. It had no zipper. She dumped everything out. The most eye-catching item was a stack of crisp 100 yuan bills. She held it up immediately, shouting I knew it. Tanjia, even if you're poor. You can't steal from classmates. The homeroom teacher finally arrived, watching the farce-like scene, and told us to return to our seats for morning reading. Wang Yelan wouldn't let it go, didn't want the teacher to gloss over it. She loudly accused me of theft. The homeroom teacher looked at me questioningly. I shook my head at him. Teacher, I didn't do it. Wang Yelan cut in. We found it in her bag. She says she didn't. So she didn't? Teacher, her behavior is too vile. I shrugged, checked the cameras, call the police. I won't admit to what I didn't do. She sniffed disdainfully. Fine. Check then. She was confident. She knew the cameras couldn't be checked. I looked at the homeroom teacher. Neither of us objects. Teacher, let's check the footage. The teacher thought for a moment, probably realizing the gravity, nodded. Then, in front of everyone, he took out his phone, opened an app, and explained. The school is upgrading the surveillance system. We can check from phones now, starting with our class as a trial. Wang Yelan finally realized something was wrong. Her voice stumbled. Teacher, don't we check surveillance with the security office? The teacher, not very adeptly, tapped the screen. This is more convenient. Wang Yelan panicked. She opened her mouth. To say she'd drop it? She missed her last chance to admit fault. I countered. You want to drop it? I don't. Today someone planted stolen money in my bag. Should I just let it go? Tomorrow they might plant something worse. Teacher, please investigate thoroughly. Finally, under her restless watch, we saw it after I left my seat. Someone slipped over, checked no one was looking, and tucked a stack of bills into my bag. It was Wang Yelan, before the homeroom teacher or I could speak. She lunged forward. It wasn't me. It was Tan Shui. Tan Shui made me do it. The matter was too serious. After investigation, Wang Yelan and Tan Shui were both ordered to go home and reflect. The homeroom teacher asked us not to spread it, fearing damage to the school's reputation. I said as long as it went on their records, I'd stay quiet. After repeated consideration, he agreed, whether it actually stayed on their records. I couldn't see, even if they said one thing and did another. I wouldn't know, but it didn't matter. I called the salesperson I'd contacted earlier. He answered quickly. After all, when he was worrying about sales, I'd pointed him toward a solution. In my past life, the whole school had switched to this surveillance system, this life, just a little earlier. My opponents weren't robots following procedures. I had to be more cautious, hence the arrangement. Hello, Mr. Liao. How are sales lately? Gratitude laced his voice. Thanks to you. Following your pitch, things are way better than before. Probably due to his profession, even facing a senior year student. He kept saying, my fingers tapped the receiver. Want to take it to the next level? Without hesitation, he said yes. I told him about today's incident. It was your product that prevented a vicious case of bullying. I wonder what schools that don't agree to install it are thinking. Hint dropped. He got it. The next day, a Weibo post from a supposed parent trended. It praised the school for using modern methods to ensure student safety, virtually eliminating campus bullying. Entrusting my child to this school puts my mind at ease. What happened next was predictable. Wang Yelan and Tan Shui were exposed almost immediately. Their records would definitely be stained now. The school, instead of taking a hit, saw many parents praise its impartiality in investigating, saying they could entrust their children to it with complete confidence. Mr. Liao's products exploded in popularity. If not for me using public phones every time, only able to receive his calls, he'd have thanked me nonstop for 3 days. Hanging up, remembering his enthusiasm, I still found it a bit terrifying. He must have made a fortune. So envious. After the Gaokao, I'd buy a phone. The Gaokao loomed. Only days left. From feeling like there wasn't enough time to study, to now feeling fully prepared. I didn't know if time had passed fast or slow. The teacher called me to the office, asking about my plans after. The day students had all left, go home, or keep boarding. I told him I'd stay nowhere, having booked a hotel room, thanks to Jiang Yanghua's 3,000 yuan. The teacher reminded me not to oversleep alone. Best to have someone wake me. I acknowledged, but have someone wake me? They'd be lucky not to turn off my alarm. Yet my parents called the teacher, demanding I go home. Give my room to my cousin. Your cousin's been on edge lately. Sleeps lightly. You have other rooms at home, right? Come back. Mom said. Why was she on edge? Weren't they clearest on that? My knuckles whitened from gripping the phone. Mom, I've always wanted to ask. I'm your biological daughter. Why are you so biased toward cousin? Not to mention, Tan Shui is Dad's relative. What does she have to do with you? Silence on her end for a while. Finally, she told me Tan Shui wasn't my cousin. She was my sister. My first thought was illegitimate child, but her next words shattered my imagination. Your uncle couldn't have children. Grandma decided we'd give our first child to him to support him in old age. If not for that, you might not even exist. Jejia, Mom knows you've been wrong these years, but deep down, our family wronged Shuer. She's your biological sister. Don't take it to heart. It took me a long moment to find my voice. No wonder she hated me so. No wonder my parents indulged her, even more than me, because she was also their child. Everything made sense now. Tan Shui was already someone else's child, so they had to please her, make it up to her, to keep her favor. I heard Uncle was very wealthy. If Tan Shui inherited and still acknowledged them later, they'd live well. I was family. No matter how they hit or scolded, I'd still come back to this home. I was their safety net, Tan Shui's fallback if she refused to acknowledge them. So when Mother learned I wanted to go far away in my past life, afraid of losing control, she used that method, knowing Tan Shui resented it. They pushed me out for her to vent on, so the three of them could stay a happy family. They weren't unaware I'd suffered, but stepping on me to give her favor. How much was love? How much was calculation to claim the uncle's fortune? I used to think they were muddled. Now I knew they were calculating to the extreme. Back home, I saw the removed door lock reinstalled. I didn't flatter myself it was for me. I knew. You let Tan Shui stay in my room when I'm not here. Mom gave an awkward laugh. Well, your sisters, anyway, right? It's fine. Opening the closet. Sure enough, it was full of her clothes. Mine were balled up in a corner, like trash. At dinner, Mom asked what university I planned to apply for. I didn't tell the truth, like last life. I named a nearby university, close by. I said, can come home often. She happily piled food into my bowl. Yes, clothes is good. I shifted gears. Of course, if scores allow, I'd rather go to a better university. What do you think, Mom? I stared straight at her. What would a normal mother do? Tell me to try my best? Encourage me that I could do it? After so long with these parents, I didn't even know how normal parent-child relationships worked. She squirmed under my gaze. Still muttering closeness was best. She ate quickly. My mother didn't want me to be too good, just above average, always led by her leash. That was best. Gaokao Day, morning. I woke on time. Normally, this house would be noisy by now. Even on holidays, I couldn't sleep in peace, always woken by Mom. But today, it was silent, almost like they wanted me to miss the exam. The moment I stepped out, she appeared, smiling, saying she was just about to call me. She handed me a carton of fresh milk, already opened. I waved it off, no time. I'll grab something on the road. She insisted, pressing the carton into my hand. Drink a little. Good nutrition. I took it out the door, drink it on the way. Of course, I wouldn't drink it. Who knew what was in it? Arriving at the exam site, I checked my stationery bag, crumpled that note that had ruined my life into a ball, and tossed it in the trash. Without even opening it, I said, never repeat the past, so I wouldn't give you the chance to hurt me again. Mom, I really don't love you anymore. Retaking the Gaokao. I'd been nervous, but the moment I picked up my pen to write, I found myself strangely calm until the bell rang. Papers were collected. Smooth sailing. None of the past life's disasters happened. Back home, I saw Tan Shui crying in Mom's arms, looking devastated. Seeing me, hatred flashed in her eyes, and she lunged. It's all your fault. I missed the exam. Why? The one who shouldn't have been able to take it was you. Today, the elevator she took at the hotel malfunctioned, trapping her inside. She hadn't even brought her phone to the exam. The hotel refused to call firefighters, afraid of damaging the elevator, so they waited until a repairman opened it. Tan Shui missed the first exam. Yes, I'd arranged it. She liked stealing my things. Let her steal this. In my past life, this incident had been huge. Even without casualties, everyone missed the Gaokao, and it was eventually swept under the rug. I remembered it vividly. I even hired someone to keep anyone else from entering the elevator until Tan Shui got on. She was unlucky enough to hit the jackpot. Seems luck was on my side. I pretended ignorance, dodging her attack, glaring at Mom. What are you talking about? We'll talk later. Mom, what did you put in my pen bag? Do you know that could count as cheating? She exchanged a look with Tan Shui, then put on a panicked expression. What do we do? You weren't seen. Right. I sighed, shouldn't have. I was careful. Don't do that again. Scared me half to death during the exam. Watching their expressions, I knew I could relax and take the rest of the exams. After all, watching me slide from heaven to hell, Tan Shui would relish that. When the final exam bell rang, I relaxed completely. It was over. Everything. Later, an investigation team came to see me once, saying someone reported me for cheating. I cooperated fully. Unlike my past life, no matter how they checked the cameras, I was spotless. Smooth sailing in the end. Tan Shui didn't believe it. Kept telling people I cheated. Fake sympathizing. We all know how hard you worked. What a pity. I told her I didn't cheat. She smiled, pretending to comfort me, saying she knew I was innocent, waiting for my admission letter. On results day, she invited many people over, calling it a celebration. In front of everyone, she made me check my score on the spot. Let your friends see exactly how many points you got. When she saw the score, her smile froze. Impossible. How could this be? Because not only was my score displayed, it was high, about what I'd estimated. I knew I was safe for my chosen university. I'd heard you could press F12 to edit web pages. Did my sister modify her score? One of her girlfriends asked. The moment she said it, their eyes turned contemptuous. Tan Shui regained confidence. Jejia, I know you're upset, but you can't lie to people like this. What would Mom and Dad do if you got their hopes up for nothing? I smiled. Enough about me. Scores are out. Cousin, aren't you checking yours? Her body stiffened. Urged by friends, she stalled, blaming bad internet, saying she'd check later. One direct person acted fast, checking for her. Missing one exam had wrecked her mindset. The subsequent exams went poorly. Her final score was predictable, not even guaranteed a vocational college. She checked mine again. Same score. I hadn't modified the page with developer tools. The gap was clear. Tan Shui completely lost it. She'd personally reported me. There was no reason I should walk free, unless there really hadn't been that note in my pen bag. Finally realizing I'd tricked them, she was furious. After chasing everyone away, she ranted like a madwoman. You knew all along? You played me? The elevator was your doing too. I wouldn't admit it. Just looked at her innocently. What are you talking about? Cousin? You insisted on staying at that hotel. I gave it up to you. How could I know the elevator would break? And you'd happen to get on it. No matter how she asked or investigated, she'd find nothing, because it truly was an accident. When applying for colleges, Mom gave lots of suggestions, all nearby, even commutable without boarding, worlds apart from the university I wanted. It's all the same. You can always do grad school later. Jedja, you've never been this far from home. Aren't you scared? I looked at her, smiling. Not at all. I'm actually hoping for as far as possible, as long as Tan Shui stays. Right. Her voice went hoarse. That night, someone quietly unlocked my door with a key, pulled open a drawer, rifling for something. I turned on the light. It was Mom. Did I wake you? Just looking for something. I'll leave soon. Looking for something. The dynamic password card, required for filling college preferences. I smiled, watching her leave the room, not telling her she wouldn't find it. I'd thrown it away. After receiving it, I memorized the number, then discarded the card. I applied for a university very, very far away. I wouldn't give anyone the chance to ruin me. Along with the admission letter came a group of reporters, naturally arranged by Tan Shui, wanting to use public opinion to destroy me. Cousin jealous, ruins her own chance at Gaokao. What a sensational headline. Too bad. A quick check proved it was purely an accident. Her own bad luck. I pulled out a voice recorder instead, pushing her deeper into hell. She definitely wanted to flee this home. All these years, you know how you've treated her. Do you have no conscience? But it was all for you. Swear. What does it have to do with me? Auntie. What did you call me? How could you call me Auntie? You resent me. Yes, I resent you. Giving me little favors. Expecting me to acknowledge you. Dream on. Now what? Your biological daughter is estranged. Will definitely go far away once she has the chance. Never coming back. Right. Then what do we do? How do we make Jejia stay? I don't know. Could we secretly put an encouraging note in her pen bag again, then report her for cheating? The recording ended abruptly. She'd asked for a lock on her room. Maybe she'd sensed someone entering. Indeed, that wasn't an illusion. I'd come back specifically that day just to place the recorder. Luckily, Tan Shui habitually stole my things, swapping with me. Otherwise, after locking the door, I wouldn't have known how to retrieve it. Then I mentioned the investigation team again. The reporters exchanged looks, seeing the same thought in each other's eyes. Big news that I smiled slightly. Tan Shui, Mom and Dad, you're about to be famous. The three of them, a proper family, truly blew up. After all, this kind of thing is unheard of. This is terrifying. How can parents be like this? This cousin is so twisted, such a vicious method, just to stop her cousin from taking the Gaokao. It's not just stopping her from taking it. If she'd cheated, she couldn't even retake it. Her getting trapped in the elevator this time, I call it karma. Tan Shui was practically unhinged. But who wouldn't call that self-inflicted? To make things worse for me, she even burned my admission letter. It's all your fault I couldn't take the Gaokao. And now I'm getting cyberbullied. Why should you get to enjoy college life happily? I won't allow it. I looked at Mom, who shifted her gaze guiltily. Your cousin was just joking. That line again. I shrugged. Okay, fine. No big deal. Just a bit more trouble when registering. Both froze. What? You think this is the old days? 21st century. You think no admission letter means no enrollment? While they were overwhelmed by the scandal, I escaped. This time it was the admission letter. Next time. Who knows what they'd target? Only after settling myself did I call them from the convenience store phone. What did you say to your uncle? Why did he send Tan Shui back? Dad's voice sounded like he wanted to eat me. First reaction to his daughter missing wasn't asking where I was, but asking what I'd said to his brother. Of course, I told him all your plans, being eyed for his fortune before he's even dead. He must not have liked that, right, Dad? These years, you've been violent, arrogant, inconsiderate, hiding behind women. Such a coward. No wonder Grandma favored Uncle over you. He panted with rage. Fine, fine. You've grown up. Let's see how you go to college without me paying tuition. I laughed. No need to trouble yourselves. I'll figure it out. Don't call again. If you need anything, ask Tan Shui. She's your daughter too. After all, when it's time for alimony, I'll have my lawyer contact you. With that, I hung up. Angry? Good. You schemed for years. Now you have nothing. Uncle wouldn't leave his fortune to an ungrateful snake, would he? So to retaliate, you have to take away what they value most. What use is making me regret? No impact. Money. Interest. People like them love themselves first. As for Tan Shui, TSK, I'm too kind, giving her back the parents she wanted most. All these years, wasn't her resentment rooted in this? Then this stir, can be firmly tied to them. As for me, I'm leaving for good. Mr. Liao's commission left me with about 30,000 yuan after tuition. Told you he made a fortune. Many years later, I met Jiang Dong, my abusive, cheating husband from my past life. In that life, the Matfia blind date. This life, he pursued me. Jiang Dong played the part well. If I hadn't known exactly who he was, I might have been fooled by his facade. I'd ignored him all along, finally provoking him. One night, he ambushed me on my way home, and I subdued him easily. After starting college, I'd learned women's combat. I could take 8 of him. The police dug up his connection to Tan Shui. They'd plotted for Jiang Dong to PUA me and seize my assets. I'd started a company with friends after getting into my dream university, majoring in my favorite subject. Calling it moderately successful isn't boasting. No wonder I ran into him even this far away. They'd come for me. I sent both to prison. One day, I got a call from Mom. No idea how she got the number. Hello, Jejia, it's Mom. I glanced at the number. Not a scam? Oh, about alimony. No need to call before. I'll block you later. She cried on the other end, saying she was wrong, regretted it, hoped I'd forgive her. Said Tan Shui was willful and rebellious, didn't know how to care for people, even stole their money for luxury spending. Said Dad missed me too, his health failing these 2 years. Wanted me to visit. Truth was, Tan Shui would never support them. Now they wanted to repair things with me. I told her I knew Tan Shui was in prison. I'd send her there. She screamed, "Your own sister went to prison because of you. How can you be so cruel?" I said flatly, not because of me, because of crime. That's it, blocking you now. If you call again, I'll change numbers. Regret? In my past life. She never said she regretted it until I died. Only this life, when they didn't get what they wanted. I said it. I will never repeat the past. This life, I finally crawled out. From that home. From the past. I will only live for myself. Story 2. Admitted to Tsinghua with a 0-score Gaokao after the Gaokao started. I slept through every exam, from Chinese to geography, because in my past life, a female classmate reported me for plagiarism. Our test papers had identical essays, down to the typos, yet she finished 20 minutes before me. That day onward, I went from golden child to rat crossing the street. My whole family was doxxed and harassed. Dad died of a heart attack. Mom couldn't bear the blow and passed away. I was run over by a radical netizen's car. So this time, I deliberately handed in blank papers. When the Gaokao results came out, I scored 728. I could choose any school, any major. It should have been wonderful news. But our whole family was gloomy, because along with the results came an investigation team from the authorities. Classmate Li Wenwen reported me for cheating, copying her paper. Of course, I wouldn't admit it, but our total scores were identical. Every subject score matched. Most bizarrely, even our Chinese essays were word for word the same. Typos included. The higher-ups took it seriously, forming an investigation team overnight to uncover the truth. They found no suspicious behavior from me or Li Wenwen, except for one thing. Li Wenwen finished every exam early, even math, 20 minutes before me. Because of that, everyone concluded I'd copied her, even without direct evidence. Even when the investigation team repeatedly emphasized further inquiry was needed before conclusions. The enraged netizens were ready to tear me apart. They doxed my home address. Countless rotten eggs and vegetables were thrown at our windows. Chicken blood and paint were splashed on our front wall. Shocking to behold. Those people proudly filmed videos, posting them online captioned, "Cheater's home surrounded by righteous masses because of me." Dad was suspended from work that very day. 23 years of service, worth less than 300 likes. He died on an ordinary morning. No last words. No struggle. Cerebral hemorrhage. The doctor patted my shoulder, consoling me he hadn't suffered before passing. Mom cut her wrists in the bathtub, wearing Dad's favorite floral dress. My aunt handled the funeral. Midway through burning paper, someone threw stones at the morning hall, shattering the glass of my parents' portrait, laughing that they died well. Before any evidence existed, they decided our family deserved to die. We couldn't stay home anymore. Every inch of air carried my parents' scent, cutting into my heart. Dazed, I walked onto the street. Streetlights were dim. I stood at a crossroads. A car suddenly sped toward me. The driver leaned out the window, voice full of glee. "Little bastard. Finally caught you. Gaokao cheater. Ruined so many kids' futures. D." The impact was instant. Pain. Real pain. I felt myself fly up, then crash down. Blood gushed from my mouth, salty and metallic. I was unwilling. I wanted to scream, to curse, to tell every single one of them I was innocent, but my eyelids were heavy. I struggled desperately, then plunged into thick darkness. When I opened my eyes again, sunlight made me squint. Around me were people, in school uniforms, holding transparent bags, cramming notes in the last minute before the exam. I stood outside the Gaokao exam room, clutching my admission ticket. I looked down at my hands. No wounds, no blood, clean. Someone tapped me from behind. "Lin Shen, hurry in." I turned, saw Li Wenwen's face. She smiled, giving me a thumbs up. "Good luck. I believe with your strength, you'll be this year's top scorer." Wind blew from far away. My fingers, clutching the admission ticket, began to shake. Walking into the exam room, papers were handed out. The teacher distributed barcodes, in turn. I slapped the barcode onto the answer sheet carelessly, then flopped onto the desk to sleep. The proctor glanced at me twice, mouth opening, then closing. For the next few hours, I slept soundly, under the proctor's disappointed gaze. I handed in the blank answer sheet, merging into the crowd leaving the exam room. Li Wenwen suddenly rushed over, blocking my path. "Lin Shen, how did it go?" I looked at her, puzzled. She realized her question was abrupt, forcing an awkward smile. "I was afraid you'd be nervous, not do well. The Gaokao is so important. You have to hold steady." I curled my lip at her. "Don't worry. Tsinghua or Peking University is definitely no problem." Li Wenwen visibly breathed a sigh of relief. "Good, good." For the remaining exams, I handed in blank papers, different proctors each time. Each time, someone leaned over, looking at me with that disappointed, hate iron for not becoming steel gaze, but bound by Gaokao rules. They couldn't do more. On the last day, I handed in a pristine answer sheet and walked out. In the hallway, students discussed answers in twos and threes. Some laughed, some cried, some threw their backpacks into the air. Sunlight was still harsh, making my eyes water. I stood in the light, squinting, feeling like a ghost who'd snuck into the living's celebration. Someone called my name behind me. Lin Shen. I turned. Homeroom teacher, Zhou, was behind me, expression complicated. The principal wants you in his office. Principal Fang's office was on the third floor of the admin building. Door half open. I knocked twice. Come in. Principal Fang was in his 50s, receding hairline, round face with black-rimmed glasses. Lin Shen. He spoke, voice mild. Heard someone in your exam room handed in a blank paper. It was me. I cut him off before he finished. Principal Fang's face darkened. He slammed the table. Nonsense. We agreed perfectly before the exam. Why at the crucial moment, Principal? Believe it or not. I had no choice. You'll understand later. I walked out of the principal's office. Behind me came his frustrated roar. In the days after the Gaokao, I locked myself in my room, planning my Tsinghua/Peking University path, which professors graded generously, which cafeteria food was best, which library had window seats. I built several folders on my computer, stuffed with screenshots and notes. Li Wenwen was with me too. After the Gaokao, many saw me called to the principal's office, heard his roar. Classmates assumed I'd bombed, politely leaving me alone. Only Li Wenwen. We'd been casual acquaintances before, barely greeting each other. Now she came to my house frequently. When she saw the web page open on my screen, her eyes lit up. Lin Shen, you're researching Tsinghua/Peking University course selections? Let me see. Let me see. She pulled over a chair, leaning in, more excited than me, pointing at the course list. This one sounds interesting. That professor is supposedly super nice. Avoid this one. Grades are terrible. I glanced at her. Same as my past life. Identical lines. Identical expression. Back then, I'd found a strange. Li Wenwen's grades were middling at best. Mock exams around 400 points. With her level, even getting into an undergrad program was uncertain. Yet, she researched Tsinghua/Peking University courses more enthusiastically than me. I'd asked her, why research so deeply? That confident in your estimated score? She'd laughed. University courses are all similar. Researching Tsinghua/Peking University gives me a goal, a reference. I'd believed her. This life. I asked the same question. She gave the same answer. Same tone. This time, my suspicion deepened. 2 days before results were released, teachers from Tsinghua and Peking University admission teams arrived. This happened every year. Before scores were out, they had a list, rushing to candidates' homes to recruit top talent. The doorbell rang while Li Wenwen was at my house. When she realized the 2 visitors were from Tsinghua's admission team, she practically jumped. She took 3 steps and 2 to the door, face beaming. Hello, hello, please come in, please come in. The 2 teachers clearly didn't expect the door to be opened by her. Not me. They smiled politely, handing over a paper bag, a small token from the school. Coming to chat with the outstanding student in advance. Thank you. Teacher. Li Wenwen snatched the bag, hugging it to her chest. The teacher was stunned, pointing at Li Wenwen, asking me, "Is this your younger sister?" I shook my head. Just a classmate, hanging out at my place. Li Wenwen realized her manners were lacking, reluctantly handing the bag to me. Lin Shen, you have a good talk with the teachers. I'll head off first. I nodded, leaving. Li Wenwen blinked at the admission officers. Teacher, I think we'll meet again soon. I'll be waiting at home. I watched her retreating back. My chest felt tight. I could confirm. Lee Wenwen knew far more about this than I did. The tragedy of my past life. She was the one who knew everything. Why it happened. She was the key. The news broke less than 2 hours after Lee Wenwen got home. I saw the notifications flooding my phone. Gaokao bombshell. Lee Wenwen accuses Lin Shin of plagiarism exclusive. Lee Wenwen tearfully describes being copied shocking. Truth of identical scores surfaces photos showed Lee Wenwen sitting on her living room sofa. Tissue box in front. Eyes red. Lips trembling. She spoke with perfect sincerity. I always considered Lin Shin a good friend. I never thought he'd do this. I was devastated when I learned the truth. Couldn't eat or sleep for days. I know Lin Shin probably wishes I wouldn't expose him, but for Gaokao fairness, I have to stand up. Comments under the video hit 100K likes within 10 minutes. Arrest Lin Shin. Gaokao cheating is a criminal offense. Trending searches, hot lists, headlines, everything ignited instantly. Comment sections were uniform, like a pre-written script. I scrolled through hundreds of comments. Not one defended me. Occasionally someone asked for evidence. Drowned out instantly by, "Are you whitewashing a cheater?" This time it came faster, fiercer, more practiced than last life. Last time, at least there was an investigation team. At least they said further inquiry was needed. This time, even the investigation process was skipped. Straight to public trial. Bangs on the door shook the frame, mixed with noise outside. Lin Shen, get out here. Apologize to Lee Wenwen. D. Cheater dog. I peeked through the cat's eye. The hallway was packed. Professional cameras and microphones. Reporters with press badges. People reporting live to lenses. Adjusting lights. Behind them, residents held up phones, filming. Some shouted curses. Some joined the jeering. At the front of the crowd stood Lee Wenwen. She wore a white dress, hair loose, expression carefully calibrated to look hurt. I calmed my panicked mom, then opened the door. The moment I opened it, all sound paused, then exploded. Camera flashes hit me like a wave. A dozen microphones were shoved in my face. Reporters surged forward like a tide, shouting the same questions. Lin Shen, why did you plagiarize? What do you have to say to Lee Wenwen? Will you apologize to the public? I didn't look at the lenses, gaze landing on Lee Wenwen. She looked at me, eyes slowly reddening, lips trembling. A true victim. Lin Shen, why did you do this? I always thought of you as a friend. Why copy my paper? I didn't answer. Lin Shen, apologize now. You're in the wrong. You owe Wenwen an apology. Someone pushed through the crowd. Tall, thin, black-rimmed glasses. Zhang Yuan, my best friend, from sophomore to senior year. Playing basketball together, eating instant noodles together, sneaking out to internet cafes together. He stood in front of the lens, expression solemn. Lin Shen, he really did copy. He admitted it to me himself. Reporters swarmed him like sharks smelling blood. You're Lin Shen's good friend. What exactly did he tell you? Do you know details of the plagiarism? Zhang Yuan took a deep breath, face serious. He called me the night after the exam, said his mind went blank from exam stress. Saw Lee Wenwen writing non-stop, and suddenly had the thought, said he was possessed. He suddenly turned, facing my direction, bowing deeply. Lin Shen, I'm sorry. As your best friend, I have to tell the truth. It's for your own good. You have to admit it. Accept legal punishment. After you get out, everyone will give you another chance. Hope you reform well. Start anew after release. He spoke sincerely, tears streaming, voice moving. The reporters nodded approvingly. This is real brotherhood. With a friend like you, he won't stray further down the criminal path. I stood there, watching them perform, smiling quietly. Then let the law judge me. If you don't leave now, I'm calling the police. You can join me in jail. Public opinion peaked in the next few hours. Some organized offline protests. Petitions demanded severe punishment for Gaokao cheater Lin Xin. Justice for Li Wenwen. Signatures passed 500,000 in half a day. Li Wenwen, having left my house empty-handed, appeared on camera again, tearful. I didn't expect standing up for fairness to be this hard. These days I've gotten many threatening, private messages. I'm just an ordinary girl who wanted to uphold Gaokao fairness. I'm really scared now. Hope everyone can encourage me. Barrage was all go Wenwen go. Support Wenwen. Justice will prevail. Then someone typed, Li Wenwen. Lin Xin scored 0. Are you sure he copied your paper? The barrage paused. Someone else typed, I saw it too. Lin Shen total 0. Every subject 0. Didn't she say he copied her paper? How do you copy to get 0? By the time Li Wenwen started her live stream, she was already crying, eyes red, nose red, tears clinging to her lashes. I didn't expect standing up for fairness to be this hard. These days I've gotten many threatening, private messages. I'm just an ordinary girl who wanted to uphold Gaokao fairness. I'm really scared now. Hope everyone can encourage me. Barrage was all go Wenwen go. Support Wenwen. Justice will prevail. Then someone typed, Li Wenwen. Lin Xin scored 0. Are you sure he copied your paper? The barrage paused. Someone else typed, I saw it too. Lin Xin total 0. Every subject 0. Didn't she say he copied her paper? How do you copy to get 0? Li Wenwen stared at the screen, her expression frozen, like someone hit pause. The crying act was still on her face, followed by confusion she couldn't hide. Impossible. She laughed, weakly, voice rising. 0 points. Lin Xin must be refusing to admit his mistake even now. Talking nonsense. Don't be deceived by his lies. Barrage scrolled faster. How does an official announcement lie? Didn't you say you had evidence if Lin Xin got 0? How did he copy yours? Li Wenwen's hand started shaking. She cleared her throat, squeezing out a smile worse than crying. I'm not quite clear what's happening yet. I'll get off first, understand the situation, and definitely give everyone a response. Her hand moved to the mouse, clicking end stream. The live stream closed, but the mic caught her soft murmur. Impossible, he clearly said he could get into Tsinghua or Peking University. How could it be 0? Wait, why 0? The system only told me our papers would be identical. Did I mishear? Did it transfer his answers to my answer sheet? The screen went black, but the chat room kept scrolling wildly. Wait, what did she just say? What system? Creepy when you think about it.l. I Wenwen rushed to my house directly after ending the stream. The door was unlocked. I'd left it for her. My parents had been coaxed into a tour group by me. When Li Wenwen burst in, hair messy, eyes swollen, none of the carefully crafted fragility from her live stream remained. She stared at me, chest heaving violently. What's going on? What is this? Why does the Education Bureau announcement say you got 0? He smiled her. Any problem? I handed in blank papers for every subject. Of course it's 0. You, her voice was raspy. You deliberately handed in blanks. Do you know you ruined me? Ruined me. I sat in my chair, looking at her calmly. Ruined you how? Ruined your chance to frame me? Ruined your chance to destroy my life. Tears finally fell. She crouched down, hands pulling at her hair, voice muffled against her knees. You ruined me. You ruined me. If you hadn't handed in blanks, I could have gone to Tsinghua or Peking University too. I knew. She looked up sharply. You guessed, didn't you? I have a system. The moment she said that word, a flash of crazy self-mockery crossed her face. A month before the Gaokao, a system suddenly appeared on my phone. It said if I bound a target candidate, my answers would become identical to theirs. I chose you, the top student in school. I thought I could get into Tsinghua or Peking University this way. I could get in. But why? Why is it like this? I stared at her, asking the question I'd wondered about for 2 lifetimes. If that's true, you could have taken the exam with me and both gotten high scores, gone to Tsinghua or Peking University together. Why report me for copying? What good does ruining me do you? Li Wenwen stared at me for a long time, because Zhang Yuan found out. Her voice dropped suddenly. He walked in on me, talking to the system. He said if I didn't report you for copying, he'd tell everyone about the system. He said he hated you always ranking first, hated teachers liking you, hated your dad having more status at the factory than his, said he'd waited 3 years for this day. I closed my eyes. So that was it. No complex reason. No earth-shattering conspiracy. Just a girl who wanted to steal points. And a boy blinded by jealousy, teaming up to push someone into an abyss. Li Wenwen had lost her mind. You ruined my chance at Tsinghua or Peking University. How will you compensate me? I laughed coldly. You two framed me together, caused me such a huge impact. And you expect me to repay evil with kindness. Li Wenwen glared at me, face twisted. Do you believe I can start a live stream now, saying you bullied me on campus before the Gaokao? Drove me insane. So I framed you. Netizens already think you're an irredeemable criminal. Give them an excuse, and they'll happily keep attacking you, even if you're not charged with copying. Your life is ruined. I nudged my chin toward the upper left of the screen. Good point. I was worried about that. So I set up the camera and started streaming before you came. What? Li Wenwen's face went completely pale. I picked up my phone, turning the screen to her. Barrage was going crazy. So no one copied her, she copied him. And he handed in blanks. Zhang Yuan is an accomplice too? My God. She staged the whole thing herself. Investigate. We must find out what that system is. Li Wenwen collapsed to the ground, unable to make a sound for ages. Messages from Zhang Yuan poured in. Bro, it's all misunderstandings. Li Wenwen is talking nonsense. We've been brothers for years. You don't believe me, right? You really don't trust me. Fine. Even if I made a mistake in a moment of weakness. We're best friends. You weren't affected. Say a word for me. Okay. Netizens are all cursing me now. I expressionlessly blocked all of Zhang Yuan's contacts. Zhang Yuan and Li Wenwen's social accounts were overrun within a day. Comments shifted from supporting Wenwen to scheming bitch, ungrateful wolf, self-directed actress. Zhang Yuan fared worse. His 3-year exam rankings were all dug up. Someone commented, no wonder he hates Lin Shen. He's incompetent, so he blames others for being too strong. Then someone unearthed an old post from a local forum. Zhang Yuan's mom had posted it when his dad was sick, thanking my mom for delivering soup daily, helping them greatly. Under the post, Zhang Yuan's mom had replied, Deeply is such a kind kid. Comes to the hospital to deliver meals before going home to do homework. More attentive than my own son. The fact we'd paid their medical bills was also exposed. For all those years, I thought Zhang Yuan and I were close brothers. But Zhang Yuan? The farmer and the snake. Mr. Donghua and the wolf became the tags for this incident. My elementary school classmates, middle school classmates, even tutoring class classmates I hadn't contacted in years all popped up. I knew Lin Shen wasn't that kind of person. He's been a good guy since he was little. This is so unfair, seeing these messages. I didn't know what to feel. Last life. All these people stayed silent, many joining the chorus cursing me, saying it was bad luck to be my classmate. Now the wind had shifted. They were all my lifelong confidants. I didn't reply to anyone. I just posted one sentence on my account. I will defend my legal rights according to law. All defamers. See you in court. Zhang Yuan and Li Wenwen panicked. They released a joint video. Both looked thinner. Dark circles under their eyes, like a final struggle. Zhang Yuan faced the camera, expression serious. Lin Shen may indeed not have cheated in the exam room, but he stressed the word but. That doesn't mean he didn't pull strings. I ask everyone, why would Tsinghua's admission team visit a zero-score candidate's home? Li Wenwen Kaim Din, speaking fast. Right, I saw it with my own eyes. Right after the Gaokao, before scores were out, Tsinghua's admission team went to Lin Shen's house, gave him gifts. A zero-score candidate. Why does he get Tsinghua's attention? Isn't this pulling strings? Isn't this nepotism? Zhang Yuan nodded. Why didn't he cheat? Because he has connections. Can get into Tsinghua even with 0 points. Easy as that. Otherwise, why would Tsinghua's team go to his house? Use your brains. Does this make sense? After the video was released, the public opinion field was like a depth charge dropped. Some still cursed them for desperate measures, but others hesitated. Wait, makes sense, right? Why would Tsinghua's team go to his house? I want to know too, maybe because he had good grades before, and the team didn't know he handed in blanks. Impossible. Admission teams have the best info. Must have gotten scores early. So what's going on? Can someone explain clearly? Doubts grew like weeds through cracks. Zhang Yuan and Li Wenwen knocked on my door again. If you promise not to sue us now, we won't pursue the matter of you getting into Tsinghua through connections. I stared at Zhang Yuan, dazed. What did I ever do to you to make you scheme to harm me like this? Zhang Yuan stared into my eyes, the corners of his mouth slowly stretching into a curve. You ask what you did to me. My voice was low, but vicious. You existing is an insult to me. Same classroom, same teachers, same homework. Why are you always first? Why do teachers only praise you in class? Why, when I explain a problem, everyone thinks you're amazing? Do you know what people call me? Lin Shen's friend. I'm not Zhang Yuan. I'm Lin Shen's friend. His voice started shaking. My mom nagged at me every day. Look at Lin Shen. My dad lay in the hospital. First words weren't asking how I did. They were, that kid Lin Shen brought you notes again, right? He stepped forward, finger jabbing my chest. You helped me. You gave me error notebooks. Your mom delivered meals to my house. You paid our medical bills. Do you know how disgusting that made me feel? Like a dog you threw bones to. And I had to wag my tail. He panted. So when I saw Li Wenwen's system, do you know how happy I was? Finally a way to drag you down. You're so perfect. Always first. I wanted everyone to think you were a thieving cheat. You think I'm despicable? Did you ever think? You're the one who made me look like a pathetic worm. You forced me to do this. Air froze for seconds. I looked at him, suddenly realizing, 3 years, I'd never truly known this person. I let out a long sigh. Leave. I've already found a lawyer. See you in court. Zhang Yuan and Li Wenwen, driven mad, attacked me online nonstop. Many netizens were incited, voicing doubts. The school, my alma mater, even the admission team, faced scrutiny. Amid the boiling public opinion, Tsinghua's announcement came. Official account of Tsinghua Admissions Office. Short title, Notice regarding student Lin Shen's admission status. Student Lin Shen participated in the National High School Geography Olympiad final in his sophomore year, winning a gold medal. According to our school's recommended admission policy, he completed admission procedures in December last year. His Gaokao score does not affect the admission result. Regardless of his Gaokao score, it does not change the fact that he has been admitted. Regarding the admission team's home visit, this is routine work of our school, aimed at providing pre-enrollment care and communication for admitted students, understanding their practical difficulties, and is not targeted at unadmitted students for recruitment. There is no form of backdoor operation or special treatment. Tsinghua University always adheres to the principles of fairness, impartiality, and openness in admissions, and resolutely safeguards the legitimate rights and interests of every student regarding recent false statements about our admitted student Lin Shin. Our school reserves the right to pursue legal responsibility. The last line was bolded. Tsinghua University always adheres to the principles of fairness, impartiality, and openness in admissions, and resolutely safeguards the legitimate rights and interests of every student. Regarding recent false statements about our admitted student Lin Shin. Our school reserves the right to pursue legal responsibility. Netizens were stunned. Finally, the truth was out. Yes, as early as last year, I had already secured admission to Tsinghua. The reason I took the Gaokao this year was entirely Principal Fong's earnest request. He hoped I'd participate, aim for top scores, to boost the school's enrollment next year. I'd agreed without much thought. Just a few more sets of papers. No harm to me. I never expected those few papers would push my whole family into an abyss. My phone warmed slightly in my hand. Sunlight squeezed through the curtain gap. I suddenly remembered this time in my past life. I was already dead, already lying in the middle of a 6-lane highway, blood flowing from my body, pooling into a dark red stain on the asphalt, the white glow in the sky. I never knew if it was city lights or dawn. Within an hour of the announcement, public opinion flipped completely. So he was already a recommended admit? Taking the Gaokao was just a formality. Didn't Li Wenwen say Lin Shin copied her paper? A Tsinghua recommended student copying someone who can barely pass a first-tier line? I'm laughing. Good thing he handed in blanks. If Li Wenwen had used that system, it really would have been impossible to clear up. Principal Fong also gave an interview. I went to Lin Shin. I asked him to take the Gaokao. Our school hasn't produced a top scorer in years. His grades were excellent. He could get top 10 in the province, even without prep. If he could get top scorer, it would greatly help next year's enrollment. He was reluctant at first. I begged him repeatedly before he agreed. Reporter asked, "Did you know he handed in blanks later?" Principal Fong was silent for a long time. I found out after the Gaokao. I confronted him. He told me he had no choice. Looking troubled, thinking back now, maybe he guessed Li Wenwen wanted to harm him. The lawsuit went smoother than expected. Zhang Yuan was expelled from school because the defamation had wide impact and caused clear social effects. He was sentenced to 3 years in prison, even though his defense lawyer repeatedly emphasized he was young. Momentarily confused and led astray, the judge didn't accept it. On sentencing day, Zhang Yuan stood in the dock, face gray, lips trembling. When he saw me, his eyes reddened, as if wanting to say something, but ultimately said nothing. I watched him from the gallery, no joy in my heart. I just remembered the first time we played basketball together freshman year. He passed me the ball. I sank a 3-pointer. He ran over to high-five me. I didn't know when his sincerity had rusted bit by bit, finally becoming what he was now. Li Wenwen was sentenced to 1.5 years for defamation, suspended for 2 years, plus 3 years for Gaokao cheating. That unknown system. The court finally decided to hand it over to the cybersecurity department. Lawyer Chintomi technicians spent 2 full weeks decompiling the system code. Its operating logic remains a mystery to this day. Its source an even bigger puzzle. But it had interfered with a national-level exam, violating multiple laws. The final result, sealed, cleared, permanently archived. All logs on the server were destroyed. The system panel forcibly uninstalled. Supposedly, during uninstallation, a line of garbled code flashed across the screen. Then it went completely black. Impossible to reopen. Lawyer Chan relayed the technician's words. A very interesting remark. They said that line of garbled code looked like some kind of withdrawal signal, like the system itself was a tool sent for a mission, and it auto-retracted when the mission failed. I said nothing after hearing that. Some things probably aren't meant for us to understand. Early September, I boarded the train to Beijing. This time, I wasn't alone. Mom and Dad sat opposite me. Mom wore her favorite floral dress, hair freshly permed, pearl earrings on her ears. She chattered the whole way. Was Beijing's weather dry? Would the dorm bed be too hard? Could she get used to the cafeteria food? She talked, eyes bright, the corners of her mouth curving up no matter how she tried to suppress it. Dad sat by the window, head turned to watch the scenery outside. When the train passed a wheat field, he suddenly turned to me, saying something that made my nose sting deeply. Your dad's proudest thing in life is raising a son like you. 2:45 p.m. We arrived at Beijing West Station. I lifted my suitcase off the train, feet stepping onto the platform's cement ground, feeling a solid, heavy reality. In my past life, my end point was the middle of the road, dying miserable and in pain. This life, my starting point is here. Outside the exit, someone held a sign reading Tsinghua University to pick up students. A senior student with glasses saw me, checked the list in her hand, looked up and smiled. Student Lin Xin, welcome to Tsinghua. I smiled back,